Welcome to Heart Magic Wisdom. Today I want to talk about animal suffering and why it's so interesting to me. You know, for everything there needs to be some sort of explanation. And the explanation can also be, well, it's all just random. But then that would be the explanation. And if, for example, it's all random, then that is true. And the opposite, it's not all random, is not true. So now we can formulate different explanations, and then we can think about whether some of them are more true or less true. So let me first explain what I think is the problem with animal suffering. The problem to me is that the universe created the suffering. It created the pain. It created a cycle where there are a lot of prey animals and they get eaten by predators. And when you look at it, it looks like they are suffering, they are in pain. And at the same time, we really don't like pain. So the universe created the pain, it created a loop of pain, and then the universe also created the I don't like pain thing. So now the universe created basically a problem. It created a system that creates pain all the time, and it created a preference to not have pain. And if the universe could never break out of this cycle, then the universe basically just moved itself into an eternal hell type of situation where it creates something that it doesn't like and it cannot get rid of it. And as I said, the first possible explanation for that is, well, it's all random. The universe is kind of stupid and blind and it couldn't do it better. It's just the best it can do. And then you can say, well, since it's just random, there is no need to look for more explanation. But on the other hand, I feel like there are a lot of things in my life that are very structured, very logical. It has cause and effect, and there is an explanation behind. For example, when you look at the normal life, it's not like you are changing the TV channel every 2 minutes. It's not very random. It's more like the story of a human life is very consistent. It has a lot of continuity. When you ask why did this happen, you can say, well, this is because of this and this is because of this. So I feel like if you just want to say, well, it's random, then there is a big chance, because so much things are not random and they can be explained, that maybe we just don't understand it enough yet and it just looks random. And now I want to talk about 3 possible explanations that are interesting to me. The first one I heard from a certain type of vegan, and what this certain type of vegan says is that yes, animal suffering is a big problem, and yes, animals are trapped in a loop where they basically just follow their instincts. And if we just let nature do what it does by itself, then it will just perpetuate the cycle of suffering. So because we humans have the capability to break the cycle, because we can think, logically analyze it, now we are the nature's answer to the suffering. And the solution is that we first stop the killing among ourselves. So we have to evolve to become aware that we have to break this cycle of violence and suffering among ourselves. And then we have to free the animals. And how do we free the animals? Well, we free them by basically killing all of them. Because then it would be one benevolent act where once you kill all the animals, and then after this, the suffering is gone. We freed them from their suffering by killing them. It's one not so nice action in comparison to the, what they say, great result that the suffering is now gone for eternity. And I mean, that maybe makes sense to some people, the type of people who think that the result somehow justifies the action. There are some people who just think, well, sometimes you have to do a bad thing now and then you get a lot of good later. And personally, I don't think that's how it works. I think basically you give the type of energy into the world, and then that is the energy that is in the world. So every action has a certain type of energy, and that's what you feed into the system. So I don't think it works that you can do something bad one time to justify more good later. I don't think it works. And this thinking also assumes this blind nature that just has no design in it at all. It just kind of does things without any intelligence in it. This way of thinking basically means that the intelligence just came in with us humans. Nature had like a very small, negligible amount of intelligence, and then out of this very dumb, very primitive, basic logic, basic intelligence, it made us, and now we are the true intelligence, and now we kind of have to clean up the mess. Personally, I don't like this idea at all. I think intelligence is kind of distributed. It's here as a basic component of the universe, and the actions that we do, these are the things that we put into the system of the universe. And basically the thing that they do, which would basically be thinking you are better than the other guys, you have to make the decisions for the stupid people or the stupid animals, and you know so much better. That I think that's the wrong type of action. Because, you know, every bad guy does exactly this. They think they know so much better. They put themselves above everybody else and just say, well, these are the stupid people and we have to do it the right way by force. And I think whenever you do it like this, you become the bad guy. And then there is another option, which I heard from a guy that's called the Australian Jesus. He has a name, but I forgot it. And I don't know much about him. He's an interesting guy, maybe. He has, I think, some good ideas and some wacky ideas. But he has an idea on this animal suffering thing. And he says that the animals are in a different category than humans. He says humans have souls and animals don't. They are just kind of reflections of us humans. And you know, sometimes that seems very true. You know, sometimes you see people with their dogs, and their dogs are really kind of a small version of the owner. They really take on the characteristics of the owner. And this Australian Jesus guy says that since animals are just all a reflection of us humans, if all of us humans would stop killing each other, then the animals would automatically stop killing each other as well. And this then would explain how the universe solves its own problem. It has humans who are capable of stopping to kill each other, and it has animals who seemingly are incapable, and the humans are able to stop the killing. And whenever the humans get to that point, then because the animals are some sort of mirror of the actions, emotions, states of the humans, then the animals would stop the killing as well. And I think that's a very interesting option that then would kind of exclude the animals from being souls that are able to learn. Because we can say usually in many spiritual models that in any experience that we have, we can learn. And in the positive way, for me, that is very true. For example, I make music, I play the piano, and over time, I learned more and more what I like and what I don't like. So I found my style, I found the type of music that I like best, and this was, to me, some sort of very good, positive evolution. And some sort of more dumb, more stupid type of evolution is learning that living in harmony is better than living in war. But yeah, I can understand some people just are in a very bad position and the only way out that they see is to be violent. And yeah, it's complicated. I don't want to say for everybody it's very easy. Just be harmonious and it's fine, because the entire system is not harmonious. So how do we get from here to there? It's not clear. But yeah, so just in general, I think there is soul evolution. I think you can learn what you like better and better, like I do in music. And in this model of this Australian Jesus guy, this would now exclude animals from this learning process. Basically, they are not capable of learning, they are just mirror images. And sure, I mean, that's an option. But I also like ideas where animals are part of the evolution, because animals still seem to me like they are capable of making decisions, but like less complex decisions than humans. And if the universe was kind of doing a process to get organisms that can make complex decisions, then it would make sense to me that you can be at different stages of how complex the choices that you make are. And yeah, so I mean, animals would be a good vehicle in my mind, in my theory, to make some type of experiences. But yeah, I just really don't like the suffering. I don't like the idea that the universe creates a cycle that it can't break out of, and it's just built into the system and you can't learn from it. Like the animal, the prey animal, in like 99% of the cases, its lifetime ends by being killed by a predator, and just by looking at it, it looks like they are in pain. And if it's just doing it for no reason and it can't get out of it, that just sucks. And then obviously the third option and last option is more a type of soul trap explanation, where you say, well, this place here was built to get suffering on purpose. And I'm not going to go into this one as deeply as the other ones, because I have other videos on this on my channel. But basically, if you think that this entire world was made so that suffering and pain is an integral part of it, then that makes a lot of sense inside the world. But then you also have to ask, why did the universe come up with this idea in the first place? It would basically mean that the universe first created parasitic structures that live off of the suffering of other people. And that's what the soul trap people say. But then that just means that this thing is a natural occurring thing in the universe, because it came from somewhere. And now it's kind of hard to say you can escape from it. It's kind of hard to say, well, this is just some sort of limited matrix with the suffering, but you can get out of the matrix of suffering and go to the paradise place where this doesn't exist. Because then somebody would have to fight this off from the paradise place. There needs to be like some defense mechanism, some sort of wall or something like this. I mean, that's possible, but it's also some sort of fight happening where the paradise place would have to fight off the parasitic parts of the universe that want to create suffering and live off the suffering. You could basically say it's like the Hermetic principle, as above, so below. If we can see that the suffering and pain is happening here, and it's maybe intentional in some ways, because some organisms live off of it, they benefit of the suffering, it's their source of energy. If this exists here, well, then it must exist at the level above, and again, one more level above. So basically the universe just does this thing. But then that still doesn't explain how to get out of the problem that the universe is creating the pain, and it's also creating that we don't like the pain. The universe either is in a forever problem where it's creating pain for itself and it doesn't like it, or there is a solution. And the only solution that I can see is that through some sort of very long type of soul evolution, all the players in the entire game, in the entire universe, in the matrix that spans everything, all the people, after very, very, very long amounts of time, will come to the conclusion that they don't want to be parasitic anymore, that they have a better life strategy, they found a better strategy, and basically we need, at the end of this very long process, we need everybody to leave this parasitic life form behind on purpose, by their own will. Because if we have to force them, then there is still this war going on. Because then they still want to do the parasitic thing, and somebody else doesn't want them to do it, and then they either have to still live with it or force it on them, and now then they are the people who are doing the forcing, which is the controlling, which is the thing that we don't like. We kind of want to be free, we want to be left alone, we want to live in harmony, and we don't want to permanently be on guard, and we don't want to be in a fight forever where there is always some evil lurking around the corner. I think that's what we want. At least that's what I want for now. I mean, I can't say for sure that if we get to there, then I'm sure that I don't want something else later. But currently, I think that's what I want. I want all of the negative, evil, parasitic creatures to come to the conclusion that they don't want to do it anymore. So yeah, these are my thoughts on this topic. If you have any more ideas of how to explain the animal suffering, then please let me know. Anything else that relates to this video, also please let me know. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.